The room is still warm. The cup is empty, not washed. The phone is face down on the table, as if it could sleep. The window has been closed for hours. Something already happened. No one will name it. Silence is not an absence. It is residue. It comes after. After the sentence that didn't land. After the breath that stayed inside. After the last chance to adjust the tone. Silence doesn't interrupt. It settles. At first, it feels light, a pause, a truce. Then it stays, not as emptiness, as structure. It leans against walls, against objects, against repeated gestures. It fills the space between two bodies that still move the same way, but no longer look at each other. You wake up, you make the bed, you turn on the water. The sound of the faucet is too loud. Silence doesn't ask for attention. It takes it. It's not what wasn't said. It's what can no longer be said without changing everything. Simple. It's too late. After silence, words don't return unchanged. Even when they come back, they're not themselves. They're trained versions, reduced, safer, less exposed. Silence teaches words not to lean forward. There's a precise moment when you notice, not during the argument, not during the goodbye, days later. You're walking. You see something you would have shared, a joke, a useless detail. The sentence forms, then stops. There's no one to say it to, not because no one exists, because silence already decided. Threat 1. You won't lose anyone. You'll lose the version of yourself that spoke without calculating. After silence, you start measuring. Time, tone, intent. Every word becomes a question wearing a sentence. Is it okay to say this? Is it necessary? Will it change anything? Silence doesn't answer. It records. The disturbing part is that it works. Life continues. Days pass. Tasks get done. Functional. Clean. Manageable. You learn that it's possible to live without saying everything, that it's often more efficient. Threat 2. You become reliable and less visible. Silence refines the form, cuts excess, removes anything that isn't required to function. You're no longer in conflict, you're in control. At least that's how it looks. You come home. You place your keys in the same spot. You take off your shoes without looking at them. You turn on a light that doesn't really illuminate. Silence is already there, not as a guest, as furniture. It doesn't weigh immediately, it integrates. That's the trick. It doesn't hurt, it cools. After silence, you don't suffer, you cool down. Emotions don't disappear, they change temperature. Anger becomes clarity, desire becomes habit, sadness becomes order. You stop needing to be understood. And when you stop wanting to be understood, you stop explaining yourself. You simplify. You become legible, repeatable. Someone could replace you without the system noticing. Silence favors people who don't disturb, people who don't ask for clarification, people who understand on their own. You become one of them. There's a moment, often at night. Silence changes texture. It's no longer just the lack of words, it's a decision. You feel like writing. A message, a long sentence, a delayed truth. Your fingers hover. Not out of fear, out of economy. What would be the point? Silence doesn't punish. It convinces. It teaches you that saying less is elegant, that explaining is weak, that the unsaid causes less damage than the badly said. So you protect it, you maintain it, you call it maturity. Simple, not worth it. But every silence has an after, and the after has a cost, not immediate, not visible, an identity cost. After silence, you're no longer the one who reacts. You're the one who anticipates, who avoids, who predicts. You don't live the event, you live its management. Something inside you shifts, millimeters, every day, not enough to collapse, enough to never return. You open a conversation, you close it before it becomes dangerous, you laugh at the right moment, you stay quiet at the strategic one, you're impeccable and distant. Silence doesn't isolate you from others. It isolates you from who you could have become with them. There's a version of you that spoke without guarantees. That risked being misunderstood. That didn't protect its image. That version isn't dead. It's archived. After silence, you live in reduced mode, not out of fear, out of consistency. You no longer want to contradict yourself. You no longer want to explain why something matters. Silence taught you that importance is dangerous. And yet, sometimes something presses from inside. A restrained gesture, a sentence pushing forward, a reaction wanting to escape the protocol. You feel it, you recognize it, you ignore it, because breaking silence would mean admitting it wasn't peace, it was suspension. And admitting that would mean returning to vulnerability, to exposure, to being alive in a disordered way. Silence doesn't force you. It makes you reasonable. That's why it's so hard to leave. You watch people who talk too much, who explain, who feel without filters. They seem excessive, naive, imprecise. You don't know if you envy them or judge them. Probably both. After silence, the world isn't hostile. It's optimized. Everything in its place. Everything under control, everything slightly distant. And you are at the center, functional, quiet. The aftermath isn't destruction, it's stabilization. The debris isn't outside, it's internal, reorganized. No one will ask what happened, because it doesn't show, because you don't make noise. But you know the exact point where you stopped saying. You know the sentence that never returned. You know the part of you that now speaks only when it's safe. Silence doesn't leave, it's inherited. It becomes your posture, your rhythm, your invisible signature. And one day, maybe someone will tell you, you're easy to be with. They won't know what that really means. You will.